Hello, my name is Joelle Bass-Knight, and I'm the superintendent of the American Community School in Amman, Jordan. Teaching and learning has changed a lot since you were in school, so welcome to Academics 101, a video series helping parents understand the academic side of schooling at our institution. As you know, sound assessment practice is a big part of unit design. This video is dedicated to explaining assessment practices at ACS. While good instruction is important, a teacher can't really hit the mark without determining if students are learning along the way. Student understanding is the key reason for the taught curriculum lagging behind the written curriculum. The work of Tom Schimmer currently guides assessment practice at ACS. Schimmer served as a district-level leader, school administrator, and teacher in Canada before becoming a full-time author and consultant. ACS has sent multiple cohorts to work with Schimmer at our regional Near East South Asia or NESA conferences and uses many of his texts to guide our thinking, including Growing Tomorrow's Citizens, Instructional Agility, Jackpot, and Essential Assessment. Before we get too far into assessment, here's some important vocabulary to understand. Learning targets. Standards inform a number of discrete skills and knowledge that help students prepare themselves to demonstrate their proficiency of the standard itself. Teachers unpack standards into learning targets to help guide unit development. Formative assessment, or assessment for learning, a task that measures learning to inform future learning. Teachers use formative assessment during a unit to help monitor progress as well as give student feedback on their learning. Usually, formative assessments measure the understanding of learning targets. Summative assessment, a task that measures the proficiency of learning. Teachers use summative assessments to determine if students can put their learning together to demonstrate their proficiency of a repacked standard. According to Schimmer, sound assessment follows 6 tenets or guiding principles. Here are the first 2. Assessment purpose. Teachers have a clear understanding of how they will use the assessment to inform or verify learning before launching. Assessment architecture. Teachers are planned, purposeful, and intentional in how they sequence formative and summative assessments to support learning. Next, we have accurate interpretation. Teachers ensure that clear criteria is used to measure learning targets or the standards to avoid confounding variables. And instructional agility. Teachers use assessment evidence to modify their instruction in real time and use this evidence to support interventions and inform pace. Next, we have communication. Teachers offer feedback that generates productive responses from learners and offers clarity for next steps. And finally, student investment. Teachers recognize that assessments motivate students to track their own progress, reflect on their learning, and determine where to go next. Above and beyond the work of Schimmer, ACS teachers also look for ways to remove barriers of access by offering multiple ways or means of expression for students to demonstrate their proficiency of standards. So unlike when we were in school, a summative assessment does not always look like a paper and pencil test. It could be a podcast, a video, a paper, a project, or a lab. And it could be that students are asked to choose which of those they prefer from a menu. So let's look at how this assessment progression may work in a unit. Let's say grade 2 is preparing a geography unit with the following standard assigned in Atlas. Explain how weather, climate, and other environmental characteristics affect people's lives in a place or region. From Stage 1 UBD, the teacher will already have a list of skills, knowledge, and vocabulary for the unit, as well as overarching essential questions and enduring understandings. The teacher may use a formative pre-assessment to determine what learning targets students already know or are able to do. The teacher may use this to build examples familiar to the students or choose a picture book that can serve as a familiar example. As the unit progresses, the class explores different types of weather and climate. The teacher may then use a formative assessment to measure student understanding of this foundational material. This could be a quiz, an exit ticket, or even conferencing with students. Let's assume the data indicates that the students are ready to move on. The teacher may have the full class explore multiple examples of the effect of the environment on how people live. Then students demonstrate their initial understanding of this interrelationship through another formative assessment, like a poster or a short paragraph, which is guided by a checklist of what to include. Throughout these formative tasks, students track their own progress and can set goals for their continued learning. Let's assume once again that the data indicates the students are ready to demonstrate their proficiency against the full standard. They're now presented with a summative assessment to apply their learning. For example, perhaps they choose their own group of people and research how weather affects their lives, and then they choose to share this in a verbal or video presentation. Ultimately, the students are assessed on their ability to address the standard, the interrelationship of how weather, climate, and the environment affects people's lives, not whether they can name the weather, the people, or the activities correctly. Throughout the unit, the teacher would employ Shimmer's tenets to ensure sound assessment is offered to the students. Data from these assessments is not only used to guide instruction within the teacher's classroom, but may be shared across the full Grade 2 team for discussion and consideration in supporting the learning of all. Of course, this example only addresses one standard. Normally, there is more than one power standard assigned to a unit. And this means that teachers must consider the complexity of creating assessment tasks that address multiple learning targets or multiple standards at the same time. They also balance time allotted to instruction, assessment, and feedback while addressing the needs of individual students and the overall pace of the group as a whole. Further, they plan interventions for students who might need a little extra support and extensions for those who master information quickly. And all of this is happening in their individual classroom while they're collaborating across the grade level to ensure horizontal alignment. Stage 2 is hard work, and teachers are similarly responsive to student needs during Stage 3 instruction as well. So tune into the next episode of Academics 101 Understanding Instruction to learn more. Until then, all the best.